Merry Christmas, Soldier. Written by Bailey Firth. Read by Benjamin Firth. The scientist, Benjamin Firth. Bailey who? Bailey Firth. The professor, Quinn Sealeaf. Bailey's wife, Emily Lightbown. Puddy, Ben Firth. 19th Doctor, Jack Hurst. 20th Doctor, Kenny. Santa, Alex Rothery. Elf 1 / Darren the Soldier / Policeman, Finley Griffin. Elf 2, Red. Elf 3 / Policeman, Thomas Young. News reporter, Amy Bloomfield. The 19th Doctor was running from Cybermen, running through the corridors of some sort of abandoned building.
Run, run, run.
The Doctor kept telling himself out loud. The Cybermen shouted.
Delete.
One bullet shot the Doctor right in the arm. The Doctor gripped the wound and carried on running. Then suddenly the voices of the Cybermen changed. They started saying,
Exterminate!
Suddenly the Doctor was being chased by Daleks. The Cybermen had vanished.
One more corner.
The Doctor shouted. Once the Doctor turned the corner, there in front of him was the blue box, aka the TARDIS. The Doctor reached for the keys and unlocked the door. Took him a couple of tries. As the Doctor ran into the TARDIS, he quickly closed the door. However, as he closed the door, one bullet managed to make its way in. The Doctor flew backwards and the TARDIS doors shut like magic. The Doctor led there on the floor. Then he started crawling to the control panel.
Have to take off.
The Doctor struggled to say. 3 button clicks and the engine started. He grabbed at a handle and started pulling it down. He was struggling. His hands started to glow with regeneration energy.
Damn, no time for a speech.
The Doctor said while looking at his hand. As the lever clicked into place, the TARDIS was off.
Here we go again. Goodbye.
Bailey was on the computer. He was searching up his dad, the Doctor. He was trying to see if he ever made an appearance in this time on Earth. Only problem was, Bailey could tell his dad had wiped himself from every database. Bailey was enjoying saving the world and having adventures, but he came to Earth for a reason. He left Gallifrey for a reason, to find his dad. Bailey, come downstairs and join the Christmas party, Ben shouted. You need to come out of that room for a bit. Come on, everyone needs you. And our neighbour, the old lady. She's letting us use her part of the house as well.
She's called Jean, and I'm busy.
Come on, this is your first Christmas, and at least spend it with your friends.
Fine.
Bailey turned off the computer and joined his friends downstairs. At the Christmas party, there were a handful of people, including the Professor, the Scientist, Jean the old lady, Puddy, and his crew. There's a Christmas tree in the corner, and tinsel everywhere. Puddy is talking to the Professor. He has his mask off, and so do his soldiers. Bailey was thinking they just had forgot to bring them. But then, in the corner of the room, he saw loads of cyberheads. He had tinselitis. Puddy said this, and burst out laughing. The Professor just grinned and walked away. The Professor saw Bailey and shouted,
Nice to see you, soldier. I mean, Bailey. Keep forgetting you changed your name. One day I'll get it right.
Bailey grinned and said,
I understand. How's everything going with the assassins?
Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, I'm stepping forward to be the leader.
That's great. About time someone tried to be the leader. The leader of the Time Lord Assassins will have to change his title.
They both laugh, and the Professor gives Bailey a drink. The Scientist walks over to them. Hi guys and girls, are you enjoying the Christmas party? Bailey nods, and the Professor answers with,
Yeah, just a bit weird having a party on Christmas Eve instead of Christmas Day. Back on Gallifrey, when Bailey did a Christmas party, he always did it on the day.
Ben looked shocked and said, Wait, Gallifreyans celebrate Christmas? Bailey and the Professor laughed.
My dad went to Earth and told us about it. And my wife loved the idea, so we used to.
Bailey goes quiet, and his wife has gone. The Professor puts her hand on Bailey's shoulder and says,
It's okay.
Bailey grins and pats her hand. Bailey looks up to the Professor and says,
Are you okay? After all, they're your people as well.
The Professor nods, and they went to get more drinks. Bailey sits there quietly tapping his empty cup. Then the TV comes on.
Got the TV working again.
Shouts one of Puddy's soldiers. Puddy grins and shouts, Well done, Darren. On the TV, it's the news.
Top story tonight. Down in London, 3 people have gone missing. A young black man, an older white man and a little girl. The police are struggling to find a connection between these disappearances. If you see any of these people, please call the number provided.
On the screen, the reporter shows 3 pictures of the victims, and at the bottom, the number to call. Bailey stands up from his seat and starts walking back upstairs to the TARDIS. "Where are you going?" shouts the scientist.
I'm going to look around London to see what's going on.
Ben just sighs and says, "Don't go yet, party has only just started." Bailey laughs and says,
I've been here 3 hours. Look, I'll be back straight away. Time machine, remember?
Ben nods and then joins the party. The professor sees Bailey leaving and shouts.
Merry Christmas, Bailey!
Bailey just waves and walks away.
Fucking rude.
Said the professor under her breath. Bailey walked to the doors of his TARDIS.
Hi, girl.
The TARDIS was disguised as a wardrobe. Bailey goes in and starts running around, pressing and pulling loads of different levers. The TARDIS takes off. Bailey hacks into the police database to find out more about disappearances. Bailey finds one of the victims' last known locations.
Showtime.
Bailey opens the TARDIS doors, then locks them. The last known location was an abandoned house. Bailey thought this was weird. There were 2 policemen guarding the area. On the opposite side of the road there's a bin. Bailey throws a rock and it hits the bin. Bailey then sneaks past 2 policemen. Once Bailey was in, he started investigating and started using his sonic on everything. On the floor, Bailey finds some blood. It had a yellow sign near it with a number 1 on it, meaning that's the first evidence they found. Bailey thought that there must have been a struggle. Bailey looks around for more yellow signs. He finds another on a broken table. Bailey doesn't see anything on the table to suggest anything. After all, it's an abandoned building. Obviously some things are going to be broken. However, Bailey then realises that there must have been fingerprints on it. Bailey scans it with the sonic. Bailey finds out the victim's name was Richard Ferguson. Bailey then sees drag marks leading to a wall. Bailey starts touching the wall, looking for a button or a lever.
Hey you! What are you doing here?
Bailey turns around and sees 2 policemen standing there.
You aren't meant to be here.
Bailey stops touching the wall and walks towards the policeman. He frisks himself for his psychic paper.
Here you go.
Bailey says this while passing his psychic paper to one of the policemen.
You're working with the unit.
An alien did this.
We don't know that yet. It's just in case.
Bailey and the policeman start talking. The policeman tell Bailey about the victims and their disappearances.
All disappearances happen around this area.
Bailey nods and replies with,
The drag marks I was telling you about are over here.
Bailey walks back over to the wall. The main police officer signals to the other to stay there and keep watch. The other officer can't hear or see what the other policeman is saying, but he can see them feeling around the wall. As the police officer turns around, he sees something green duck under the bin across the street.
Was that?
The policeman says to himself. Then suddenly, he sees the green thing run from behind the bin to the car.
Guys, need help here.
Bailey and the other policeman look confused and then walk over to him.
Just look at that car there.
Bailey and the other policeman look to see nothing.
I see nothing.
I see nothing as well. What did you see?
Bailey says. The policeman looks a little bit embarrassed and says,
An elf.
Bailey and the other officer burst out laughing.
You keep looking out for these elves. Ha 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 ha.
The officer laughs and then Bailey and the policeman turn around to go back to the wall. Then suddenly there's a bell jingle.
Agent dude, sir.
Bailey and the other officer turn around and standing there is an elf. Then out of the bin comes another elf. Then another opens the door car and stands there. All 3 of them stand in a line and start singing Jingle Bells.
Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in one horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride on a one horse open sleigh. Hey.
Bailey and the 2 police officers just stood there, shocked at what they are seeing. One of the officers starts moving closer.
Just kids. Come on, move along.
Bailey taps him on the shoulder and says,
Don't get any closer.
The officer just shrugs him off and says,
We're just kids. It's fine.
Now the elves have stopped singing and are just looking at them. The officer gets closer and closer. Suddenly there's a noise familiar to Bailey. Everyone freezes. The elves take a step back. Then someone pushes past Bailey and grabs the officer going towards the elves.
Stay back!
The mystery man shouts. Suddenly, simultaneously, all the elves reach into their pockets and then come out wearing Gallifreyan finger blades. Bailey shouts,
Babolons!
Bailey remembers the Babolons from when he visited Bad Wolf Forest. The finger blades were Gallifreyan, but a group of Babolons robbed millions of them years ago. The finger blades had Gallifreyan text on them and were glowing green. Bailey took out his B-gun and the mysterious man took out a sonic. The mysterious man and Bailey look at each other in shock.
Where'd you get that sonic?
Bailey asked, but before the man could answer, the Babolons attacked. Bailey shot the closest one and it turned to dust.
No guns.
The man shouts this and then sonics Bailey's gun, making it not fire. Bailey shouted,
What are we meant to do now?
It's simple. Run!
As they turned around to run, an elf jumps on top of one of the policemen.
Get off me!
Bailey aims to shoot, but then remembers he can't. The elf stabs the policeman. He dies. After a lot of running, the policeman, Bailey, and the random man are saved.
Hey, you. If it wasn't for you, that policeman would be alive.
Killing them makes you no better than them.
I kill to save people.
Who even are you, carrying such a powerful weapon?
The policeman butts in.
He works for UNIT. UNIT don't have weapons like that.
How would you know? Who even are you anyway?
I am the one man that can save you all, and one day you will look back and wonder who I was and why I saved you. I am...
God, do you do a speech every time someone asks you who you are?
Yes, let me finish. I am the Doctor.
Wait, the Doctor?
The original, you might say.
Wait, that's impossible. You're meant to be a woman. What generation are you?
20th. How do you know about regeneration?
I have to make a call.
Bailey calls Ben on the B-gun. He explains all about the Babolons. Then he says,
Also, my dad's here. I found him. Well, at least a version of him.
Ben is shocked and says to Bailey, That's great. Have you told him who you are?
No.
Why?
Wrong timeline. I want my dad from the present, not the future. If I tell him who I am now, it might change the future so that he is my present father.
What's so wrong with that? Bailey mutters one word, then hangs up.
Time.
Bailey walks back to the doctor and the policeman. The doctor's telling the police to go to the real unit and tell them to prepare for an invasion. The policeman gets going and Bailey says bye.
So who are you, gunman?
The doctor asks Bailey. Bailey had to think quickly.
James Smith.
As Bailey said this, the doctor grinned. Suddenly Bailey got a call from the professor.
Right. Bailey, Ben told me everything, so I used the device to track down Timslanium, the metal that the finger blades are made from. Anyway, it's led me to a cave system. I've sent you the coordinates.
Wonderful. Don't go in without me. You can't have all the fun.
Better race down here then, because I'm going in.
The professor says this and hangs up. Bailey just smirks and then turns to the doctor.
Okay, Dr. Mysterio. Now, it's time I leave you, as well. I need to go deal with the Babylon problem.
You gotta be joking if you think I'm gonna let you do this by yourself, James.
Won't be alone. I'll be with my best friend, the Professor.
The Professor of what?
Bailey thought for a moment.
Professor of Science.
Stop acting like a child. I ain't your father. I am coming, and that's it.
Not gonna lie. Hurt a little. Okay, fine. Here are the coordinates.
The doctor and Bailey went into their separate TARDISes and in sync flew away. The professor is waiting at the entrance of the cave, looking at her watch. Bailey steps out of his TARDIS, then the doctor does. The professor looks at Bailey and says,
To see you have a time machine, you take a fucking long while.
Oh, shut up.
Bailey replies. They enter the cave. The cave was pitch black until suddenly 3 sonics lifted up. Bailey and the professor walk in front while the doctor is behind.
So how come he doesn't recognise me? I mean, you've regenerated since the last time you saw him, but I haven't.
The professor says to Bailey,
I'll explain later. For now, let's focus on getting rid of the Babolons.
I have a feeling this is a trap.
It always is with you.
Bailey and the professor laugh. The group came across a metal door. Bailey says,
Okay, clearly this is the ship they used to get here. Professor, take pictures and send them to Ben. Also, send him our location, just in case.
The professor was already doing it. The doctor stepped forward and opens the door. Bailey and the professor put the sonics away and pull out their light swords.
No, you don't put them away.
The doctor says and then sonics them. Bailey shakes his head and says,
Come on, the professor doesn't kill anyway.
The doctor just carries on walking into the door, ignoring Bailey. Bailey just looks at the professor and sighs. They follow on behind. The group then reach the end of the cave.
Guessing we've triggered the bloody trap then.
The professor says, then the door's locked and out from the sides of the empty room there were 3 elves on each side of the wall. Bailey looks at the doctor and says,
This is why we need weapons.
Suddenly, a TV screen comes down from the roof. On the TV screen, it's Santa.
Oh, ho, ho. Whoever, this is a fucking stupid holiday.
The doctor steps forward.
So guessing you're in charge. What do you want with this planet?
We want the planet. After our world was destroyed, we have been searching for a new one. This one will do nicely. Posing it as these holiday demons helps us gather information and gives us the ability to go anywhere. You'd be surprised what the human race lets you do for Santa and his holiday demons.
This ends tonight.
The doctor replies with,
I'm sorry, Doctor, but this is the end for you and your fucking companions.
As Santa says this, Bailey and the professor say at the same time,
How dare you! We are not companions!
Who cares? Holiday demons shapeshift into something that will kill them nice and slowly with more fear.
No.
Suddenly the elves around the room start changing. The doctor, the professor and Bailey are surrounded by weeping angels.
Don't blink!
The doctor shouts. They all make a circle, all of them trying to keep their eyes on the stone angels.
There's too many of them!
Bailey shouts. Then the lights in the room start to flash. The angels get closer and closer. Panic fills the room as the professor gets an idea.
Everybody grab hold of my hands!
Bailey looks at her and says,
Now is not the time for a Christmas song.
Just do it!
They all grab hold of the professor's hands.
Okay, somebody sonic my what?
Bailey says,
Your time vortex manipulator is not getting us out of this. This room won't even let the TARDIS in. It was the first thing I tried.
I said my watch!
The professor shouts. The doctor sonics her watch. The weeping angels are about to grab them. A huge light appears. Then, when it goes, the doctor, the professor, and Bailey are gone as well. The group find themselves in Bailey's TARDIS.
An escape crystal. I've not seen one of them in years. That's genius.
The doctor proclaims,
Yeah, where'd you get it from, Professor?
A woman gave it to me years ago for helping out with fixing a TARDIS. Gave it to me at a treasure room.
Bailey gives the doctor the coordinates to his and Ben's home. They all set back to Bailey's apartment. They all join the Christmas party once again. Back so soon? Ben shouts to the group. Puddy brings over a drink for the doctor, professor and Bailey. Bailey walks upstairs. He goes to where the TARDIS is parked and goes behind it. He clicks a button on the wall, which opens a secret entrance. It's only a little room, but it's his shrine. A shrine to his family. One of the little tables are some flowers only found on Gallifrey. They call them star flowers. Bailey had to keep the flowers apart because otherwise they could create a mini supernova. In the middle of the 2 star flowers laid 3 pictures, one big one and in front 2 small ones. One had a picture of Susan Foreman, his daughter. In the other little picture was a little boy, his son. In the big picture was Bailey and his wife. Bailey went down and opened a box. The box was filled with things like sonics, watches, baby toys and jewellery. Bailey picked up one of the watches and put it in his pocket. Bailey stood back and stared at the pictures.
Merry Christmas. Love you.
As Bailey left, he turned around and clicked the button to close it all up.
Love you too. Merry Christmas, soldier.
Bailey instantly knew who it was. Sadly, he knew it was all in his head, for she is dead. Bailey joined the Christmas party again and walked over to the doctor, who surprisingly was still there.
Merry Christmas, Dad. I mean, Doctor.
Haha, I'll let that slide. Merry Christmas to you as well.
Bailey handed him the watch. The doctor put it on and said,
Sadly, I didn't get you anything.
They laughed. Bailey turns on the TV, and as he thought Santa and his elves were on the news, the news reporter starts talking again.
Santa and his elves are giving presents to the children and adults. I am here at the location now, and as you can see, they even have a sleigh.
On the TV screen, it showed an elf giving a teddy bear to a kid. Suddenly, the bear morphs into a real bear. The bear whacks the kid out the way and bites on the car parked on the road. It throws it towards the news reporter.
Oh God.
The reporter shouts before the camera goes off. Ben was watching it with Bailey and says, That's Baker Street, that's only around the corner. Bailey and the doctor get going. Bailey whispers something in the professor's ear. She stays with Ben and the rest of the party. Bailey and the doctor arrive on the street. It's quiet, as everyone has ran away. In front of the doctor and Bailey is Santa and his sleigh, and over 50 elves. Bailey looks over and sees the bear turned into an elf. Bailey shouts,
So, what's your plan now, Santa?
Santa shouts back.
Trick or treat.
Bailey looks in confusion.
That's the wrong holiday.
They're all the same. Someone dies in the end. Start laughing then, you stupid holiday demons.
All the elves choose to go and attack. Bailey pulls out his bee gun and starts shooting them. The doctor shouts,
No gun.
As he reaches for his Sonic, it's not there.
Sorry, Doctor. I had to take your Sonic. Wasn't going to let you stop me from killing them this time. They've gone too far.
Bailey kills about 30 of them before they even come close. Santa shouts,
Oh, hold it. Okay, Bailey. I challenge you. 1v1. Whoever wins gets the planet.
Bailey nods and takes out his light sword. Santa jumps down from his sleigh and picks up an elf that shapeshifts into a light sword. Santa shouts,
Now.
The doctor grabs Bailey and puts him in handcuffs. The doctor hits Bailey's legs and puts him down on his knees.
That's cheating. You used my own dad against me.
Santa looks at Bailey and says,
Ho, that's my Christmas present to you. Your dad, aka another Babylon, gets to be the one that kills you.
Santa throws the light sword to the fake doctor. Santa shouts to Bailey,
Met your dad and shot him twice. Sadly, he got away and regenerated his toys. He's probably still going through his 15 hours of regeneration.
Santa stuck his middle finger up at Bailey.
Santa knew you would fall for it.
Then the fake doctor lifts up his light sword. The fake doctor is electrocuted.
Did you really not think I knew that already? It was obvious. I mean, it wasn't just the smell. It was everything. Like how he couldn't recognise the professor, or how he just accepted my gift like it was nothing. He's a giver, not a taker. Only thing they got right was the no guns.
The electricity is coming from the watch Bailey gave the fake doctor. Bailey breaks the handcuffs and unit surrounds the area.
Looks like they want you, Santa.
Santa was as red as a bauble.
No, I'm not going to let you win.
He starts to shapeshift and Bailey just shouts.
Not this time.
He throws one of the professor's STEM techs at Santa. The next day was Christmas. Everyone stayed over as Bailey didn't want them travelling their spaceships or time vortex manipulators while drunk. Ben had cooked Christmas dinner and they all enjoyed it. They all laughed and enjoyed each other's company. They gave presents and sang songs. Ben even made a Jingle Bell song with all of them in it. Everyone had a Merry Christmas.
I hope you all enjoyed the Christmas special of Bailey Who. Everybody worked so hard on it and I'm really happy with how it came out. This is mainly because Doctor Who isn't going to be doing a Christmas special this year. Anyway, from the bottom of my heart, I hope all of you have a very Merry Christmas. As if it wasn't for all of you people who watch this, I would not still be doing it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed and all of you have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Just say that a bit louder.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, fairy tale characters.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.